waits till nighttime, gets his flashlight and toolkit again. While you're on vacation, he'll steal the wires from your house.
Oh shit, man, that's a classic. Welcome in, everybody. That is...
Thank you.
That is funny shit. Listen. Thank you to the listener out there who sent me the extended version of Janie's statements. I got 10 minutes into it. It's not like I haven't heard or think I heard. You think that you hear everything, right? Until you sit down and you listen in sequence to everything, and it's like, fuck, there's a lot. So it's like 2.5 hours. Not like we're getting into it. Don't worry, you're not going to be bored with this, because it's hard. It's going to be hard for us to get past like the first couple. It's so funny, and nothing should be funny in this circumstance. I don't know, maybe I've gone crazy in the background listening to this, but you need to hear, like I heard, this. Now, this particular sequence is all Janie's statements from It's a Criming Shame, and thank you to the girls for letting me use these clips. But this was sent to the RCMP in hopes of, comparing for their investigation to the statements that they were given. And they're being presented the contradictions. Now, why would someone be out here involved with the case talking about things the way that they are? She's getting angry and she's all uppity. You know how Janie gets. Don't even get annoyed by her voice tonight. Tonight, it's borderline comical. It's borderline. Not that she's purposefully being funny by any means. I've never heard such cockamamie reasoning and excuses. It's very easy for this woman to lie. She's talking about the CBC. There's things that you haven't heard in here. I know it. She's talking about the CBC reporter coming over and bribing her with dog treats. Oh my God. The thing is that she's serious. This is no joke. It's not like I'm presenting it as a joke. It only can come from Janie. It doesn't really matter about the conversation. It's the statements that are important. We spent so much time on this. You think that you get a good understanding. You think that you get a good understanding about what it is that she's saying. But it's time for a bit of a reflection through these statements. And it's all in audio form. It's in audio form in that sense. Let me see. I laughed. Because you're constantly stopping and trying to figure out WTF she is talking about. And the more that you've come to learn about the case, the more that you can understand after the fact by the things that you thought that you came to know. And I'm just rambling on about my opinions because it's fresh in my mind. That's all right now. But it's so crazy to me, her professed love for Daniel on all of this, and it driving her feelings about the scenario. We'll talk about it. Ghetto Panda, good to see you. Of course, people are trying to bribe her. Of course, people are trying to bribe her. What is that word? Because. That's probably because she's so important. Nothing to do with the 2 missing children. Right. Yeah, she treats it like it's all a bother. Like, even, why would you be chasing reporters off of your land and people away from this scenario if it's a genuine missing persons case? And there's a genuine mystery here, Janie, to begin with. You are telling us in one ear that you care and want the best thing to happen in this circumstance, and in the other one, you're chasing people away. It's not just because she's got a foul attitude. There's a lot more to this particular story. And I've never seen such sensitivity in a person in a circumstance like this. Like, she's going to be famous for this shit over time. Because she's just such a bizarre character in all of this, and it's so obvious. And part of you understands why she's so protective of her son in this circumstance. It's almost a measure as to how guilty he is. Oh my God. Good to see you, Natasha's Taps, and I'm going on about it. Listen, you're going to understand. You're going to get it. Holy Hannah. Some of it might seem repetitive, but I don't think so. I don't think you're going to be annoyed by this at all. I know that she gets to be too much, especially when you get your emotions all up in the scenario. This is just naturally funny because Janie has just that foul of an attitude. I don't know if you're like me or not, but I get a kick out of people watching like that. And people who put themselves in a position, you can just watch the manipulation. She's putting herself in a position to answer everybody's questions, but she can't hold herself back from like adding her 2 cents type of thing, I guess it would be. But her 2 cents is incriminating in this circumstance, number one. So it contradicts and counters the whole point to trying to manipulate in the first place. And so within this whole process, there's a lot of comedy to be had when you realize that it's just a person, a bad liar, trying to get away with something. Now, of course, we can suspect it all day. Like, getting, everybody's innocent till proven guilty in a court of law and things like that. Listen, I don't have to tell you my opinion about how, suspect I am of Janie in this circumstance and her influence over the household. These are the things that I like to talk about here. We don't want to be too accusatory, but these are the interesting things to me. This is the psychology behind the circumstance. Of course, it's going to be annoying as hell to them. The reality is, in my mind, I was thinking, is that, Janie, it's okay to admit that you were crying out there because you realize that you've just lost any sort of privacy that you had. Now they're going to open up, and really, for a lot of people, it might be their worst fears. This is going to be, it's going to be on the front page of the local paper. Oh, fuck, let alone over in the UK and in Europe. All the way up to Svalbard. In Longyearbyen. Oh my God, shout out. And Australia, of course. All parts of the globe. She's lost her privacy. That is an inconvenience in this circumstance. And Belinda and Janie treat this circumstance in such polar opposites, like north and south. You're okay with being accusatory. We go ahead and feel free, Mr. Henny. I've noticed it's okay. But I still, you still like to treat human beings as human beings for as long as you can possibly hold that out in this circumstance. I don't want to drive the hate parade. It's unnecessary, but this is just so entertaining. And then some. There's fun within the comedy. So it's perfect for a few laughs because it has you thinking like, is this, does it sound this crazy because she's just that, she's just that way? Or is it more desperate than that? A lot of times it's like listening to a 10 or 11-year-old argue points. Anyway, let's get this show on the road here. We were talking earlier about Justin in this picture that's on your screen right now with him just chilling out and relaxing. I know pictures can be a little bit deceiving sometimes. It seems awfully relaxed around there. Shouldn't you be crying for your mom? Shouldn't you be crying for Janie, Justin? The woman in the trailer? You're like living in your car like Ricky was in the Trailer Park Boys in Julian's driveway. Oh shit. You guys are something else. Listen. Let's start this.
Okay, on that day, my trailer was searched 3 times. Twice on Friday, once on Sunday morning. I may have in my interview said Monday morning, but it was Sunday morning. Okay, on Friday, I had the search and rescue. One of the search and rescue guys.
Why does it seem so quiet
come
here?
in,
Hold
3
on.
of them come in, and they checked my trailer thoroughly. I took my dog out. The reason I didn't let the officer, her name was Officer Mason, check my RV.
First off, you're reading that off a piece of paper there, honey baby.
Because she was going to go in my RV. She started opening the gate, and I told her not to go in there because there was a dog in there. She told me that if I interfered in her investigation, she'd have me removed off the property. I told her there was a dog in there. If she didn't even give me the chance to tell me to take my dog out of there. She started shooting off to me. I then let the searchers search my trailer. Malaya let them search my trailer. And on Sunday morning, Mason and 3 other people come in and searched my trailer. They even checked my washer spinner.
Your washer spinner. Now listen, is that too quiet? I don't know why that was so quiet. Hold on. Is this any louder?
It breaks my heart. I can't see my grandchildren.
I think it's low. Or it seems low a little bit. So we're going to have to adjust. Maybe we'll have to turn it up a bit. I don't think I can make that any louder, guys. I apologize. How? I have to do some editing on it. It's not, but I can't do it right now. It's not that low. We're just going to... You're going to have to speak into the microphone there, Janie. I want you to speak nice and clear. Let me see. Brian Sutherland, this is a audio clip.
It breaks my heart because I don't know where Lily and Jack is. And the grandchildren is on.
Yeah, so it's different levels. It's not going to be all low. Some clips are low, some aren't. Some are lower than others. That's what it'll be. And they're a compilation, essentially, in sequence. Man, she's really acting. She's like Elizabeth Taylor on this. Only she doesn't look anything like Elizabeth Taylor. She's acting like she's Liz Taylor up in here. Let's see.
So I did not refuse to let them search my trailer. I just told Officer Mason there was a dog in there. My dog was protecting his property, and I was scared if she went in there, my dog would have done something. Not that he would have, but you don't know when somebody enters your property without a dog knowing. It was just for her safety and my dog's safety.
Listen to that
so
right
if people
away.
can't understand that, then they don't know anything about dogs. My dog has lived a quiet life here, and all of a sudden I have all these search and rescue people here, all cops, helicopters, drones. My dog is got so much anxiety in him, he's losing his hair. I had him to the vet. The vet told him as long as I was stressed out, my dog would be stressed out. So it had nothing to do with me not letting them search my RV. I was just the safety of the officer. And for my dog. And as far as the cupboard goes, I had nothing in the cupboard. I do not do drugs. I do not have guns. I don't do any shit like that. So there's your answer to the cupboard.
Especially if
there's
the cops are
your
asking.
answer to the RCMP not searching my trailer. They have searched my trailer 3 times. Oh, and by the way, I do not accept friends' requests, so don't even bother sending me one.
Oh, well, no problem there, honey. So no second date? Holy mackerel. Could you imagine Janie in a speed dating scenario? Okay, then. Wow, we have got a lot in common. She seems like such a lovely gal. Tell her, don't even bother asking to be my friend, because I'm not accepting any new ones, baby. I don't think you're going to have a lot to worry about there. Love it. Oh dear, a poor dog got stressed out. Gosh, well, Mr. Hemi, what we've come to learn about Janie is she likes to express her reality through the perspective of her dog, as though they mirror one another in that circumstance, and they do. Like your pet is tied to you; it's bonded to you. It stresses when you stress. Of course, this is nothing new. We all know that. We love our animals in that circumstance. But the way that Janie explains it, you can tell that she's using it as a shield. Her dog is like a canine shield for her, like a human shield in war. She's using it in this circumstance, like she's putting blame back onto the children. These simple principles in psychology, man. I never thought psychology would be so bang on. It's better sometimes that you don't say anything. Not in Janie's circumstance. I don't think she, you know. She wants to focus on the simple things. Like we can probably tell from the outside if the kids are in there or not, and that's what she's trying to allude to. But it's like a 30-foot trailer. You can stick your head in and around. She didn't want the cops in there poking their nose all around into her nasty address book, and really she considers it a violation of her privacy. And by let's get back to statement analysis. You can take so much from this one, but think about her priorities in that. Not yet did she just prioritize herself over the safety of the children that they just reported missing. Within minutes, she had a problem with it. Like, that's a problem there, honey. It speaks so much to the ill treatment that really went on towards these children in the background. Each and every one of us knows that. No matter what it is that she says or claims, no matter how many times they deny, you expect these people to deny any sort of anything like that in these circumstances. It's like a public statement. Even if it's true, you're going to deny it to them because you know where this is going. So don't get confused that we're expecting the truth from these people at this point in time, considering all of the inconsistencies, and all you needed was one. And that started off, and Daniel really shot himself in the foot by going on that CBC interview. Because what you did was undermine your own credibility in passing blame off to Malaya, because there's no possible way that she could have been responsible for making Jack and Lily disappear in this circumstance from your house. Although it helped you out and it bought you some time in the early stages, because people needed to figure out what was really going on. And they give you the benefit of the doubt. And it turns out everything that you come to them with are lies and deceit and difficulties.
My dog does not like Lily's loud scream, just like any dog would not like Lily's loud scream. I can't stand Lily's loud scream. If you watched her birthday party, the way she screamed, could you stand Lily's scream all the time? My dog reacts. My dog tells me when there's people in the yard. My dog tells me when the kids are outside. My dog is really sensitive because he's so used to being all alone here for the last for whatever.
You know what I think these hesitations come from in her speech? Like there's something other than her natural speech, other than the truth that you hear. There's hesitating. You can hear her fabricating in real time. There's no doubt about it in my mind. That's my opinion, of course. But you could hear it. Like, all you have to do is deny and fabricate. And that's really what we're listening to when we listen to Janie talk about her reasoning. She recognizes the usefulness of exhausting out your mind with listening to her go on and on about otherwise extenuous information or useless information or irrelevant information to what is ever is going on right now. And by the way, she skips over explaining. All of that time is usually spent adding context to qualify whatever statement or emphasize your points or add important information. And you go on about the most nonsensical things.
The kids showed up here 2 years ago. My dog has been used to quietness. When Jack and Lily moved in here, my dog got more sensitive to sounds because of the kids yelling, screaming. So yes, my dog.
So therefore, what she's getting at is that's the reason why she started mistreating Jack and Lily in the first place, and that's how it began. That's the point to telling us. There's a reason why she's telling us this. And instead of directly coming right out and saying it, she's saying she's trying to pander to us in that sense and tell us everything that she thinks that we want to hear. But she can't hold back or resist actually telling you what she really thinks because she's just got that much hate in her. That's what it is that we're listening to. And in spending time focusing on blaming of the children and the victims in this circumstance, Vivian, that's what she's spending all of her time instead of focused on the possibilities, what actually happened, which would be natural to a person who's just been victimized. She is really jumping the gun and trying to make herself out to be the victim, putting her priorities first, her privacy and convenience before the children that she wants everybody to believe she just saw in the yard playing moments earlier. What was all the point, guys, of inviting everybody over to your house? What was the point on getting all of those individuals out there so you could take them personally and brainwash them into your bullshit lie? It was like a little soap opera they put on that particular day, all while Daniel was spending all of that time away with his friends down at the pipeline, searching, air quotes, parentheses they call them.
Very sensitive to Lily's scream and Jack screaming or talking. Okay, to save everybody trouble, here is what happened at the end of
my dog is very sensitive. She's already told us her and her dog mimic each other's emotional state at any one point in time. She's really saying she resents the children, speaking through her dog. Oh boy, that's a red flag, isn't it? You don't have to be a degreed psychologist to recognize that one. I think that may be a lie. Well, Lindy, what about normalizing? You had 2 years to normalize and, become friends with that dog, that animal. All of a sudden, it's because she lives in that trailer and the dog becomes so protective of that little, RV of hers back there. Fucking overheating in that old, broken down, dilapidated RV. Dogs put up with a lot, don't they?
driveway, the altercation. My brother, me and Justin were out on the four-wheeler. We were up at the pipeline. We were coming out at the road called the Madison Road. Malaya called me on my phone. She called me at 3:32. I didn't answer because we were talking to a lady on her four-wheeler with a child. Then she called me back at 5:39. I answered the phone. She told me to get back here to the trailer. I said, "What's up?" She said, "I can't tell you over the phone." So I came back here. Me and Justin came back here to the trailer. Marlea was standing on the edge of the driveway, crying her eyes out. I went up and I put my arms around her and said, please don't tell me that they found the kids dead. Haley started shooting off about something.
Talk about
and then I think
Mrs.
it was
Positivity.
Shelby, I'm not 100% sure. She started shooting off. I ordered them off my property.
So Janie comes up and she says, after being called back to the property, communicating with mobile device, isn't that interesting? There goes that excuse. So you communicated via a mobile device with Malaya while you were out on the four-wheeler with your other son, Justin, and you came back in a panic, in a tizzy. Oh my God, Malaya, don't tell me that the kids were discovered dead. What? Shouldn't you just be more consumed in where the hell they must have just went, or the fact that somebody has to have had them, or has to have them at that point in time? Walking around just trying to pretend to be confused. You guys are way too young to be writing this script. People don't act like that. Especially parents who love their children. Which is a real issue throughout this entire family, I suspect. I don't think they're big communicators. Although she does claim to love her son Daniel so much that he could do no wrong in this circumstance. Leakage, Angry Rabbit? There's plenty of that going on. There's plenty of that in these statements. Well, let's continue on. I don't want to get too sidetracked. Howdy, by the way.
The police or the RCMP came and asked me what was going on, if there was a fight. I said there was no fight. I just ordered them off my property. He took me aside. He has it all.
You were fighting because they began to accuse Daniel of having something to do with it because he was high in that moment on what would otherwise be referred to here on the YouTube as the crystal. A certain substance. And his circle of people that he invited over there started calling him out for it. You guys are the ones that asked him to come over. As soon as they see Daniel, they put two and two together. He's not acting right, and it's not just because he's tweaking. Bingo bango. Those mofos had it right the entire time. It fits into what it is that Malaya's side of the family, in Wade, for example, God bless him. I'm glad he was there that day. He wasn't believing any of that shit. That's so strong. That's so strong in this circumstance. He probably has everybody else in his life fooled, but he's not fooling Wade. He's not fooling Malaya's side of the family because they hear about it. They get all of the phone calls. They hear all of the reasons that Malaya wanted to leave that place and probably only suspected a fragment of that huge iceberg. Imagine all of the things that she doesn't tell them.
Video cammed. He took me aside and asked me what happened. I said, Malaya, exactly the same thing. Malaya called me. I came back here to the trailer. I thought the kids were dead. Then Haley and this other girl, I think it was Shelby, I can't be 100% right, started shooting off. I told him to get off my property. He asked me what the altercation was about. I said I didn't know. I didn't listen to them. I wasn't fighting with anybody. I told him that the most important thing was to find Lily and Jack. He agreed with me. I did not order Malaya off the property. She was more than welcome to stay here. Her grandmother was even here, and her grandmother was going to stay the night, and I said that is fine.
She's more than welcome to stay here. Speaking about Malaya. Does that tell you a bit about who controlled the roost? Who ruled that roost for the past 2 years? There's no reference to this being the kids' home, and this is where they belong in this circumstance. Don't you see a bit of an issue with that? You would think that a beloved member of the family, especially one with a new baby in this circumstance, would love to consider that place home. But I mean, we all know that who in their right mind wouldn't love that place if it was, it would be great if it was like a moose hunting lodge in the middle of northern Ontario or something, or Newfoundland, and you couldn't see it by the road. It was back in like 200 acres or so, and you had bloody corpses all over the place. It would be okay. Or an ice hut. Maybe it would make a good ice hut out on a lake somewhere. You put some holes in the floor and drop down your fishing line. You bring home some dinner, some real dinner, a bunch of pickerel. Oh, God, so fantastic. Wouldn't that be fantastic? Then you're talking. Then you would love the place. Then you would have a reason to spruce up the joint a little bit, make it seem a bit more like home. But anyway, what I'm saying is Janie tells you in that statement that even 2 years of living there, she wants Malaya to know that she was still welcome to stay there at that point in time. She didn't have to leave. Are you sure about that? That's the whole point in my mind. That's a big piece of the puzzle. Janie, in an ideal world, doesn't want to be living in the backyard in that RV. She moved there, admittedly, because she needed to get away from Malaya and the kids and Daniel in the trailer. It was upsetting her. Remember her and her dog? You tend to get fooled by the living situation and just accepting it and overlooking the dynamics of reasoning as to why somebody's living in or camping in. Which one is it exactly? You never can't quite tell. The camper trailer, whatever it is that you tell yourself to get by each night. But I'll tell you, the kids in Malaya sure felt the brunt of that resentment. Well, she's uptight about everything else, but you hear it specifically in that statement that she just made. Let's listen again. Hold on. I'll just back. Oh, hold on. Where am I here? Just a wee whip back.
She called me at 3:32. I didn't answer because we were talking to a lady on her four-wheeler with a child. Then she called me back at 5:39. I answered the phone. She told me to get back here to the trailer. I said, "What's up?" She said, "I can't tell you over the phone." So I came back here. Me and Justin came back here to the trailer. Marlea was standing on the edge of the driveway, crying her eyes out. I went up and I put my arms around her and said, "Please don't."
She even mispronounces her name, Marlea. She's working so hard psychologically behind the scenes here that she mixes up in different ways Malaya's name. It's like she's, throwing a promo video on her like a wrestler and messing up her name on purpose to insult her. Marlea, Bob, whatever the hell your name is. You see what I'm saying? Like, she resented the fact that Malaya was even there in the first place, even though she speaks the words along with her disdain. It's not genuine. It's not real. Like, this should be your home. You shouldn't have to welcome her to stay in her own home there, dumbass. Okay? You don't have to invite her to stay in the home that she's just lived in for the last 2 years. But she lived there under your rule. It's like listening to Ceausescu from Romania, brainwash the public over using the media, and she's doing that same thing to Malaya and everybody that lived on that property. And she probably uses Daniel as her little tool. She love bombs him, manipulates him, just pumps his ego up, just how fantastic he is. And he's a fucking huge dummy. He's an idiot. Probably's got some good qualities, I'm sure, but not anymore. That flew out the window. Up in smoke. This far outweighs your good qualities. Your mom.
Tell me that they found the kids dead. Haley started shooting off about something, and then I think it was Shelby, I'm not 100% sure, she started shooting off. I ordered them off my property. The police or the RCMP came and asked.
So remember, she ordered them off her property. I ordered you off my property. Like, she's the authority. After inviting everybody out there to search for Jackie and Lily, you've got this lunatic, attacking people in the driveway. She physically came after one of Malaya's friends. She physically came after one of Malaya's friends on the driveway and ordered everybody to get the fuck out of there because they started calling a spade a spade. They started calling Daniel out, the exact things that we do here pretty much on the daily. And other channels, of course. There ain't no way that this story flies. Listen to them and what takes up all of the time explaining things. It's much more important that you get their stories right, even though it's complete, utter bullshit, and it shouldn't matter one iota to them who believes it and who doesn't. Then why spend all of this time to try to get your truth out there in way of where the hell Jack and Lily are? Well, the easy answer to that is because if you start asking too many questions about the possibilities of where Jack and Lily are, it comes every time back to the people that last saw them and how flimsy and shitty their particular stories are. And the cops got that right away because they probably couldn't fill out the report because your story didn't consist of that many words. How the hell is their superiors going to sign off on this when they can't even fill it out properly? You start manufacturing all of this nonsense, but it that even is messed up. You screwed yourselves on that because you contradicted yourselves. You portrayed the same parts. You mixed up roles. But you didn't think that would matter because each role that you came up with had the exact same lines. It's you in the end who got confused in your retelling on camera.
Asked me what was going on, if there was a fight. I said there was no fight. I just ordered them off my property. He took me aside. He has it all video cammed. He took me aside and asked me what happened. I said, Malaya, exactly the same thing. Malaya called me. I came back here to the trailer. I thought the kids were dead. Then Haley and this other girl, I think it was Shelby. I can't be 100%
It'd be a million views on that body cam.
Started shooting off. I told him to get off my property. He asked me what the altercation was about. I said I didn't know. I didn't listen to them. I wasn't fighting with anybody. I told him that the most important thing was to find Lily and Jack. He agreed with me. I did not order Malaya off the property. She was more than welcome to stay here. Her grandmother was even here.
Listen to what it is that she's saying there. You ordered them off the property, but everybody was welcome to stay. After you went out and attacked the people that you invited over there, you want to skip over the details and tell the cop to mind his own business and focus on Jack and Lily. Think about all the shit that she did in that short period of time. You gave it away, girl. You really messed up, Janie. You gave this whole thing away. Your alibi is shit. Unreliable. You've proven yourself to be unreliable as a witness, I'm afraid, madam. Oh, God. Yeah, she goes and gets in this fight and she spends more time telling you that there's nothing important or significant about anything in these circumstances. That's suspicious every single time. Like, why get me all dressed up with no place to go? Why tell anybody? Why even be talking about it in the first place? Just annoying. Anyway.
and her grandmother was going to stay the night. And I said, that is fine. I said, Cindy's more than welcome to stay here. So I did not
it's
order
so
Malaya
comfortable.
off the
It's a
property.
nice little bed and breakfast
What
you
went
have here.
on after they left, after the police left, and after they went to this briefing, I do not know what happened. I stayed here. I stayed here, and me and Justin went back out on the bike. So whatever happened after Haley and this other girl left, I don't know what happened. I was away with Justin on the bike. So you have to get all your information from Daniel and Malaya about that, because I do not know. And I'm going to clear up this thing about Belinda. Belinda said that she came and she said that I was crying, and I blame myself for it, and this is the time that I wouldn't let the police in. Said that I wouldn't let the police in my RV. Well, the reason why I was crying, Belinda, is I blame myself for not getting up that morning and seeing the kids. Because whenever they're outside, I'm usually out there. I'm the one watching those kids. I watch those kids out in the yard every day. That's why I blame myself for not getting up that day.
What does one thing have to do with the other? It makes absolutely no sense. You're just making something up.
If I would have got up, this would have never happened.
In what way exactly? Explain that a little bit.
So that's why I was crying that day, Belinda, is because I blamed myself
Stop
for
crying.
not getting up for those kids. And I'll tell you something else, and I don't care if you believe me or not. I would never, ever, ever let anything happen to those kids. I watched them for 2 years. I seen them day in and day out. What went on between Malaya and Daniel has nothing to do with me. I live here in the camper. They live in the trailer.
Do you notice it's word for word what she told the CBC interviewer? There's really, it's word for word, just like Belinda describes. Both Janie's and Daniel's account, except for when they contradict one another and mess up their roles, like they did with their the little driveway confab.
What went on in there is none of my business.
So why in all of these statements would you talk about how you could have prevented what had happened when we really don't know what happened in the first place? So why the hell are you upset to the point of tears and being unconsolable when you really don't know anything that had happened in the first place? You're more sure on the things that didn't happen, including Daniel being responsible for it in a way that's suspicious, questionable. She is a lying old bag, Brian Sutherland. She's lying like nobody's business. She's got no reason to be shedding tears at any point in time. Why be so emotional about something you know nothing about? Going on about how much time you spend around the children. You can't help but spend so much time around the children. You didn't have any other choice. You're only 30 feet away in that RV. You're living in the driveway. You're actually living out with the chickens. You with your chicken out there. You got you and your roosters, girl. You got your roosters in the woodshed. Is this the life that you always wanted? You must really dislike Earl. Maybe she's not a fan of Earl's carpentry. He built that house, you know, that bungalow. But apparently she fooled around on Earl with a dude who stopped by to do some work on the home. That's what ended their relationship. See, they've got talkers. They've got people within their family that know them, that come out and spill the beans. I thought that was an interesting tidbit. That would be. Why don't you ask Janie about that next time you see her? We'll test out her sensitivities. You test out the sensitivities with Janie. That shouldn't be too difficult to see if those receptors are working. Yeah, she's still sensitive about everything. Everything. So goddamn angry. She's swinging at the fences.
And when you have to call your kids, or Jack and Lily's mother, and tell them that Jack has his boots off and Jack has his coats off, does that tell you that Malaya was watching the kids?
I don't know. It tells us that you think that she's a horrible mother, and you picked up the phone each and every time to let her know in her own home, or the home, your home, that she's temporarily staying in from your perspective. No wonder she didn't feel all that welcome. It's hard to believe. Please come back and stay. Please don't go.
So don't come down on me because they weren't my grandchildren, but that I do, and I do consider them my grandchildren. I don't care what anybody says. When they came into my life, they...
See, she fixed her slip up. She recognized her slip up in real time. That's some real leakage right there. That's some leakage right there, but she came back right away. See, there's no possible way. The sentence in English doesn't make any sense. You can't have it both ways, and both things be true there. And that's not even a misspeak. She didn't misspeak. She talked poorly about how the kids were being raised, and somehow all of the negative factors in the household have to do with Malaya, not them. Why? Because it's not her kid, not her grandkids in the first place. Yeah, which is your true, genuine attitude towards the children, which was a contributing factor to why that they were being neglected and therefore abused, mistreated. These are things that she's admitting to. Imagine what it is that she's hiding. You're right there. We're right there. We're on that doorstep. You can pretty much tell what it would have to be. And there's no possible way that she could resist. You imagine how wound up you could get Janie in an interview room? Oh, that would be fantastic. That would be fantastic. Oh, you have to wait for just the right moment, though. You can't ruin this one like you almost did the last time. Guys, they have to be entertaining as AF, these interviews. She must have been on edge. She's so pissed off and emotionally distraught in here. We can't even hook her up to this because she's going to bite my finger off. Doesn't that tell you guys something? You don't need to hook her up to a polygraph to tell you that their behavior is absolutely suspicious. Isn't it ironic? Isn't it ironic? Normally, you would have thought you would give me a test because that's something you couldn't determine. Well, why don't you go back to Old Faithful and just, take a look in their eyes. Listen to them. You wouldn't think there'd be any need for bringing out the old polygraph examination. But again, the only, it's procedure. When you incorporate that into the process, it gives you an excuse early on to, try to rule them out. Even though that's just a line that they give you. You would have thought that would have been a gold mine. Getting these idiots in an interview room would have been a gold mine. How could you fuck that up? What happened? I need to see these things.
It became part of my family. So if people doubt that, then they don't think very much of me, because I'm not that kind of a person.
What?
No, I want to continue this. I want to get this all out of my system, and I want to tell you guys the truth.
It's difficult. She's in character. She doesn't want to break character. Oh, I'm really on a roll here, guys.
It really bothers me because I've been a grandmother for 9.5 years. In the last 2 months, I can't be a grandmother anymore. I'm not a grandmother. My grandchild, my oldest granddaughter's birthday was on the 25th of this month, and I couldn't even see her, all because of what happened.
All because of somebody else. It's somebody else's fault. She's really trying to blame somebody else aside from her own actions. You know, they had to remove the children because of your sketchy behaviors, because of your lack of cooperation, for example. That would direct the investigators into thinking that, yeah, there really is a reason to need to protect these children because the grandparents and the parents in the circumstance, as we'll call them, aren't being as forthcoming as you would like them to be. When you're not forthcoming and you're being deceptive, there's a reason for them to not put the children back in the home. Why? Because it's an indicator that you yourself did something. No matter how hard you want that other person to take your word for it, that's really what's going on with Janie too. Oh, she wants you really badly to believe her. You have to. Oh, she's gonna fucking yell even louder if you don't. You gotta believe me. You have to believe me. That's an order. Why does it matter, girl? Why does your truth out here matter in that sense? That's just a form of manipulation. I need to add my 2 cents in at this point, which is fantastic if they were looking for something to investigate, because here's something right now.
And I had nothing to do with it. But I am the one that is suffering. So is Jack and Lily. They don't know where they are. They don't know what's going on.
And them.
Well, Meadow doesn't know what's going on. And my other 2 grandchildren don't know what's going on.
Neither do the RCMP, you're hoping.
I watched my oldest 2 grandchildren playing with those kids for the last 2 years.
Like, is all this buffoonery, weird, fake crying necessary there, Janie? Sounds like an old horn.
And now they don't even know what's happening. They don't know what happened to Jack and Lily. They don't know where they are. It's not about me. I'm worried about my grandchildren. What impact this is having on them. I can recover from this.
We could tell. She can get over this right quick. Means she can move into that damn trailer again. Thank God. Thank God those kids are gone. Now she can go back to normal around here. Last 2 years have been hell. Hell on earth around here with these kids and they're screaming.
It's going to take me a long time. But just think what the impact has on my grandchildren.
You know, normally that would be... even a broken clock is right twice a day. You know, so even though she's making a point in this circumstance, she went and goes and messes that up. With too much extenuous information that would otherwise suspect you of having or her being deceptive in the moment, because you can tell that she's speaking about these children in a negative way, in a negative manner. At the same time, trying to talk positively about them, and it's not working. It doesn't work. Cut. Gonna have to get your understudy in here. It's not working, Janie.
And Jack and Lily. How much it's hurting them.
What? Well, what happened? What are you alluding to be bringing this up? The point that's the reason why it's suspicious that she's got no reason to be concerned about Jack and Lily when she's come out and delivered all of these different scenarios. Wait until she gets... Here's what really motivated me to do this show tonight, friends. When I heard her talk about and really verifying that her and Darren Geddes got together and she was opening up to him Think about all of the bullshit that Darren Geddes came out and said about putting all of this on Malaya and, moving the kids off onto the reservation. A diversionary tactic early on in all of this. We can all agree after the fact that that's absolutely what it is. And it's disgusting. So really, looking back on it now, hearing that Janie was the influencing factor behind all of that disinformation, along with that idiot Daniel. Okay? She's taking credit for coming up with all of this blame that she's putting on those sons of bitches that she had to kick off her property. That's what's happening. She's despicable. Man, I'm sorry I had to say it. I'm trying to hold back my opinions, but man, it's hard to know. It's hard to listen to her go on like this, but I promise it gets better.
I begged Malaya to come out and tell her side of the story.
Please, Malaya, come out and corroborate my claims.
And she's the only one that can answer the questions that we can't.
Well, then why are you here answering it for her?
Come out and talk for the sake of the grandchildren, for the sake of her children.
She is in a position.
Put yourself in my shoes and see how you would feel.
Yeah, you're telling me she's telling us through her language her role around that household. She wants us to recognize her role as matriarch around the property. What does that tell you about the scenario? She's putting herself in position to authorize people to stay at what would otherwise be Daniel and Malaya's home in this circumstance. Or is it? Right? It's very inconsistent, incongruent with what would otherwise be a living situation. One moment.
My oldest granddaughter's birthday was on the 25th of this month, and I couldn't even see her.
This is just another attempt to put all of the blame off on Malaya, who they're sure isn't going to talk because they spent most of their time abusing and probably what's nothing short of psychological torture over a period of time to Malaya. That's how much she disliked Malaya there. That's why they didn't get on. That's why they didn't talk. That's why she didn't hand the baby off to Janie so she could go, quote unquote, look in the woods, for example. It wouldn't even have occurred to her. And they've come out and spoken about it too. Only in ways that tried to shed any sort of suspicion.
All because of what happened. And I had nothing to do with it.
And you had nothing to do with it. Tells me that you did have something to do with it. You controlled and you came up with all of these cockamamie stories because there's no way that you're going to let that bitch do anything to your boy Daniel. That hussy. That 2-bit trollop that came up in your home and pissed your dog off, made your dog lose all its hair for their screaming, their sounds. It's the kid's fault. They were nasty. You guys would hate her scream too. You should see her birthday video. Oh my God, it was so traumatic. So traumatizing to hear her scream.
But I am the one that is suffering.
See, it's her. This is the reason why she's telling us all of this. She wants you to buy into all of this, just how much she's suffering because she needs that sort of support. That's the reason that she called everybody over there that day. That's the reason why they hosted. But who exactly was hosting? First thing Belinda noticed was, who the hell is that angry bitch out there? What's up with that stupid bitch out there carrying on like a maniac? Where's your kids, Malaya? Sounds like a coercive environment, doesn't it?
So is Jack and Lily. They don't know where they are. They don't know what's going on.
How do you know? How do you know so much about what Jack and Lily are aren't doing at this point in time, especially when you come out with this Dermot O'Grady crap. Don't look at me. Focus on Jack and Lily at just the right times, especially when I run out of things to say.
Well, Meadow doesn't know what's going on, and my other two grandchildren don't know what's going on. I watched my oldest two grandchildren playing with those kids for the last 2 years, and now they don't even know what's happening. They don't know what happened to Jack and Lily. They don't know where they are. It's not about me, I'm worried about my grandchildren. What impact this is having on them.
Usually that should have been something you should have started with instead of end on. You already ruined it. You already fucked that up, Janie. Finally, when you thought of something good. If that's the only thing that you said, it would have been a different story, Janie.
I can recover from this. It's going to take me a long time. But just think what the impact has on my grandchildren and Jack and Lily.
Well, that's why they had to remove them from the home. They were thinking about the impact on the children. Their puppet master.
How much it's hurting them. And I begged Malaya to come out and tell her side of the story. And she's the only one that can answer the questions that we can't. I begged her to come out and talk. For the sake of the grandchildren. For the sake of her children.
So really, what she's doing there is also putting blame on Malaya in another way. So it's now Malaya's fault that Janie can't see any of her own grandkids. Even more reason to be resentful towards her. This probably fits into an even bigger pattern that contributed to the poor mental health around the house.
You guys put yourself in my shoes and see how you would feel.
Hell to the no.
You would be feeling exactly the same way I am. I'm no different than anybody else. I do have a heart. And I'm not standing up for Daniel, and I'm not standing up for Malaya. I'm standing up for myself.
Yeah, we can tell there, honey. You're prioritizing your own needs ahead of anybody else's. Because you're sick and tired of it, aren't you, old lady? You're sick and tired of living in that RV. That's what's made you so cranky. Yeah, it was a great idea. Maybe it's nice for a weekend, but it ain't nice for 24 months. And to top it all off, you've got to deal with these screaming kids outside just to rub it in your face. You can't even watch All My Children properly. You can't even watch As the World Turns in peace. Effing kids. I'm going to go out there and give them a piece of my mind. Next time, I'm going to go paddle them. That'll teach them. I wonder how that escalated. I think we're looking at how it escalated. The kids are no longer around, if you haven't noticed. And Janie's screaming in an angrily fashion how much she looks after the kids that nobody can seem to find. You know, nothing suspicious here, is there? Oh, this is the definition of suspicious. Like, you can't get any more suspicious, Janie. You can't get any more suspicious. Oh, okay, well, maybe we won't pay attention this time. But don't let it happen again, all right? Heaven's sakes. How the hell are you supposed to let this fly, Janie? This isn't like Who Smashed My Car Up. We're talking about child murder here. It's more consistent with a couple of people who can't control their emotions to have not controlled their emotions towards the children to the point of death and covering up their death. Because you guys are just that psycho. You are those people. You are like that because that's how you've demonstrated to us. You're the one who insists we believe you with not bringing any sort of evidence to back up any of your claims at any point in time. You insist on having to be taken at word. The truth doesn't need that. You can't even express properly the remorse that you should really have for the situation that you're in. And it doesn't really rhyme like that, but I won't go on like that. That's subjective to some people.
I told you everything that I know, and I told the truth. If you want to give me a Bible and swear it, then I will.
You go get a Bible right now. You swear on it?
And
You pinky swear on this one, Janie?
besides, what would I have to gain by doing something to Lily and Jack?
Oh, I don't know, your trailer back? You're asking the people to come up with all what your motives are? Did you know that motive isn't even important in a court to prove? They don't need to prove the motive to prove that you did something. And you're the one who keeps insisting about being the one responsible, about being able to prevent whatever it was that happened to the kids. That's why you're crying? No, you're crying because you know that there's all of us out here now wanting to look into all parts of your private life, and that's never going to change. That would be a reason to cry.
It breaks my heart I can't see my grandchildren. It breaks my heart because I don't know where Lily and Jack is. And look at poor Meadow, what she's going through. She has no parents that are together anymore.
He's really putting it
You
on.
guys just don't understand. I wish you were in my shoes.
How could we not understand? We have to be in your shoes? You guys need to be in my shoes. No, I'm not the scum of the earth. I'm not an evil bitch. You just are not in my shoes.
Being blamed for something that I had nothing to do with.
Isn't that completely a contradictory statement to being upset over the fact that she could be the one who prevented this in the first place, and that was the reason for her crying? I think so. I think that qualifies.
If you want to give me a Bible and swear it, then I will. And besides, what would I have to gain by doing something to Lily and Jack? It breaks my heart I can't see my grandchildren. It breaks my heart because I don't know where Lily and Jack is. And look at poor Meadow, what she's going through. She has no parents that are together anymore.
That's probably the exact same thing that they held over Malaya's head that made her stay around there in December. Did you think about that? I think that's probably a strong possibility. That's the type of argument that she probably would have fed Daniel in order to help him influence Malaya not to leave. You don't want to leave, woman. You don't want to raise Meadow. Meadow needs a father. Meadow needs a real man in her life. Let me call Earl. He'll show you what a real man is, Daniel. Miss Case says this is all about how the public perceives her and her son. It's bizarre. Exactly. This is and she's crying while she's going on about it. This is the real reason you're crying in front of your trailer, honey. You're telling us. You spend all of your time worried about public perception. Why? Because you did something. It's amazing to me there, honey, how an old broad like you can shack up in such a garbage trailer and be so fucking concerned over how people perceive her. Didn't you throw that out a little while ago? I don't think you could possibly get any lower. I can't even believe you fucking cleaned that piece of shit and don't drive it straight to the dump. How much how much money you're sinking in to that garbage in order to make it look like somebody lives in that piece of garbage is beyond me. Like, why you would even do that is beyond me. Clean the joint up a little bit. Make your life a little bit easier. Donna, it only is a crazy place to raise children because of the people who live there. It's otherwise fairly cool. What's not cool about living at that home when you're a kid? But the problem is the control freak that's overseeing, the ogre. The fucking ogre that you've got to pay a toll to every time that you cross up into those forts. You can't talk too loud. The old lady will come out and start yelling at you. Fuck, they built a fence so to keep her in. They fenced in the RV to keep Janie inside. Don't come outside the fence, Janie. You're like a rabid animal.
You guys just don't understand. I wish you were in my shoes. Being blamed for something that I had nothing to do with.
You see, she's blaming everybody else for not understanding. Why would that even come up? What wasn't there to understand? What exactly are you referring to specifically? Everything? It must be. Must be just everything.
Thank you. Now, if there's any more questions, please ask them now because I'm not staying on here much longer, so get this over with.
Yeah, well, she's in character. Not doing this every fucking day. You guys should be all thankful, bowing to her. You guys don't understand. She's so hard done by in that sense.
I am fighting to see my grandchildren.
This is such a ridiculous statement. Hey, Janie, there's no such thing as grandparents' rights. Doesn't that tell you about the superiority complex that's going on here at this household? You don't have any rights as a grandparent to see your grandkids, especially the crazy you are, you batshit old lady. All right? You can bring any motion before the courts in order to have the purpose and hopefully see your children. But I'll tell you, you want to save a little bit of money and maybe treat people nicer, you wouldn't have to go to court. And by the way, that's only to get an agreement. And nobody has to agree to you being able to see the kids. Nobody. There's no such thing as grandparents' rights. All right? I hate to break it to you. I had the exact same argument way back like 15 years ago to keep crazy, overbearing, nonsense people out of my daughter's fucking life. Exact same argument. And I every time I hear that, I have to stop and make mention because I went and bought a lawyer at the time to deal with it. And I'll tell you right now, I didn't need to buy any fucking lawyer. You don't need any... You're wanting to go to court to fight to see all... That sounds fairly expensive to me. How many grandkids do you have? You're going to be fighting to see every one of them? And that's a determining factor in making you just a caring, loving grandmother? Doesn't that speak volumes to how she wants you to perceive things? All you people who don't understand? You want to skip over the fine details. See her as the victim. It's everybody else. No, I'm pretty sure it's you, Janie. There ain't no such fucking thing as grandparents' rights. That's right, Jenna. Good to know. It's such nonsense. She wants you to skip over the reasons why she can't see her grandkids in the first place. Is my point to all of this. Christ.
I've already got in the process of trying to see my two oldest. And as I said, I'll fight tooth and nail to see my grandchildren. Nobody's going to stop me.
That's just how caring of a person she is. Nothing's gonna fucking stop me from seeing my grandkids. That sounds like some stalker shit right there, doesn't it? Like she's just that psychopathic. That's a little bit more leakage right there. That's an indicator of her psychopathy, in my opinion. And she's good at it sometimes. She can twist in real time. Because she's the only one that knows what she's, diverting us away from. She's protecting all kinds of guilty knowledge in there, deep in the deep crevices of her brain.
The CPS is stopping me from seeing Meadow because they say it's an ongoing investigation. And I think it's the mother of the 2 other grandchildren that aren't letting me see them, but I'm taking court action to start starting in the process of seeing them.
Yeah, the only person you'd be taking court action with would be the Children's Aid. You would have to fight to be able to see them and get a court order in order to see them when they're in care, because Child Protective Services are involved. It's not a fight between parents by any means. It's a fight between Janie and the state in that sense, or the province in the circumstance. Yeah, ain't nobody gonna keep me from seeing my grandkids. Doesn't that tell you about the resentment that she's holding towards the grandchildren's mothers in this circumstance? Ding, ding, ding. So she's got all kinds of resentment towards Daniel's ex-wife, and she's got the same sort of resentment towards Malaya in that circumstance, and she's telling us that. Ain't nobody gonna keep me from seeing my grandkids. That was almost a split personality we heard right there, I think. As she cleans her gun.
Starting to hopefully see them. I told the truth, and I will not stop telling the truth until Jack and Lily are found.
Whatever her definition of the truth is. Yeah, don't stop talking, honey. It's entertaining AF. You think that would work, Rob? Putting Janie in a room with a recording of Lily screaming in that circumstance? You think you could break her? You don't want to give her a reason to actually be a victim, but I get where you're going with that. Sometimes it's nice to conceptualize. But then it would be wrong, right? Cruel and unusual punishment in that circumstance. But maybe it's worth a try. The booze didn't help. She wouldn't accept the booze to spill. She didn't need the booze to spill any beans. She's spilling enough, just by telling what she otherwise refers to as the truth. And she ain't going to stop speaking the truth until Jack and Lily are found. Oh, you'll be speaking the truth then as well. You don't have any control over that. You're tied to this case now, Janie, whether you like it or not. Why is that? Person in the circumstance who didn't have really anything to do with anything really doesn't need to be as associated as you have been in the circumstance. Doesn't that speak volumes over to the control that you still have over Daniel at this point in time? I think you're Daniel's biggest coach. Why is that? Probably because this old crazy bat was spending the last 2 years convincing Daniel just how horrible of a person Malaya was and all the things that she was constantly doing wrong and needed to change about her life in order to do it the way Janie says. You get that? You think that she's that type of person? I do. I think that's exactly what was going on, because you can hear it in the way that she exudes her control over the premises. When really, it's not your problem, and you want people to believe that you're just back there living your life like a little hermit, not involved in anything. Yet, the way that you explain it's completely the opposite. You're involved in these kids every day, all day. Nobody spends more time with them. Why exaggerate? Why the need to exaggerate in these moments? What's wrong with the reality? The problem is when you're trying to hide reality, you have to come up with something, and pretty soon, like it does in this circumstance, it all sounds so fabricated, made up, unrealistic. And pretty soon you can't speak in a truthful manner about the situation because it's gotten too far. And that's why Janie's only doing this once. Because there's no way that she's going to sit down and answer any more of the questions that you're going to have after you listen to her explain this one. Sounds like a person who's withholding information in that circumstance. Like she's doing us a favor.
And my story will not change because I told you exactly the same thing as I told in my interview. I'm sorry, guys. I just need a little bit of a break from this. If there's any other questions you'd like me to answer, I can answer them now. But please, one at a time, like before. I like to do it before because everybody shoots me so many questions that I don't have time to answer them all at once because my brain is just going around here. So one question at a time if you want answers. Okay, a lady dropped posters off to me day before yesterday. I haven't had a chance to get out to put any out, but I will definitely put them out. Just right now I'm having a little car problem, so my sister-in-law said that she would take me around to put them up just soon she was able to do so. I do own another piece of land, but the land that I own is between my exes and my brother. It is 7 acres and there is no water. It's not by the ocean, it's not by anything. There's no brook on it. There's no water at all on it.
Why would Janie volunteer all of this information? Well, she's in an environment that people are probing her for possible search locations. But it still seems very suspect that she's volunteering this preemptively, letting everybody know. What are you insinuating? That these children are going to be in water? So she's talking about Barney's River, I would expect, in this circumstance. My story won't change. Ghetto Panda says, what someone who really needs you to believe them says. Right. Even though, we're past that point. There's nothing more inconsistent than this story that they've came up with. And you wouldn't expect their fabrication to really change. But the problem is that they can't keep it straight. Because they're eventually going to make a mistake when they retell the story in that circumstance. And they have. On camera. Like what? You don't need anything else. You don't need any more. Sure, it'd be nice to have a whole pile of them. But at that point, you guys have to have something to do with this. There's no possible way that you, after all that time, mess your own story up. Daniel interjecting himself is the one I'm referring to, about him putting himself in the place of Malaya in the driveway. That's a real problem for your alibi.
So if you go to Google Maps, you will find the piece of land between my exes, which is Daniel and Justin's father, and my brothers. And that would be on the Lansdowne Road, not the Lansdowne.
This might be a different piece of property, different than the other one by Barney's River. There's another little chunk of land.
Station Road. Repeat, the Lansdowne Road. And to correct Haley and whoever else, the piece of blanket was found on the Lansdowne Road, not the Lansdowne Station Road. I cannot answer questions about that blanket because I was not here when it was supposed to be found.
She's telling you she can't answer questions about the blanket, but she just give you all kinds of information in that circumstance.
around.
It's like denying being able to do what it was that she's just done.
I'm just hearing where she said it was. I'm correcting her that it was the Lansdowne Road. The only time that I was here to have any part of the blanket was when the cops, RCMP, came here and asked about the blanket to Daniel. Daniel and Justin did go to the garbage and showed the RCMP officers the rest of the blanket. And I can vouch for the blanket being put in the garbage because I seen the day that Daniel put it in the garbage because I told him not to bag it too heavy. So Daniel did put the blanket in the garbage.
It's interesting how she can recall such events, after the fact, when in real time, Daniel, and there's so much BS and question around the blanket coming from Daniel, not even, saying that it didn't, it wasn't anything to do with anything, as opposed to, what Janie's speaking.
I appreciate you guys asking me if there's anything that I need. No, there's not. The only thing that I need is people to stop the rumors and accusations because it's not helping anything. It is just making everybody's life miserable, and it's also hurting the children of all these rumors, and they got to stop.
No, actually, Janie, it's not, because what's really occurring are people are becoming aware of the lies and deceit. They're the voices of the children. This is how it should be. We're not allowing you to cover up this nonsense. Absolutely not. Why are you so sensitive over the questioning of what you consider to be the truth? Surely you wouldn't have any problem when people come and question you. You just want people to take your opinion as fact. That comes across. It's not even trying to straighten out any misconceptions or confusion. You're straight up disinforming. And you're just calling it something different. You're trying to fool us in real time. You're doing it and then telling us that you're not doing it, or it's for the kids, which is despicable, by the way. No, when you don't know what the hell is going on. I'm not even.
So I'm here to tell you the truth on my side of what I have seen and what I have heard. I've been telling everybody from the start of this, I had no involvement in the disappearance of Jack and Lily. I gave the investigators the same story that I'm telling you guys.
But if you were so upset, madam, that you could have prevented whatever happened to Jack and Lily, how could it be two things at once? Say that again. Let me hear that again. You didn't have any involvement with this. If you didn't have any involvement with this disappearance, then how could you have prevented whatever had happened? And more so, how could you expect us to look past this little contradiction in your statements? You can't have this both ways. Having a popsicle in the background.
I appreciate you guys asking me if there's anything that I need. No, there's not. The only thing that I need is people to stop the rumors and accusations because it's not helping anything. It is just making everybody's life miserable, and it's also hurting the children of all these rumors, and they got to stop. So I'm here to tell you the truth on my side of what I have seen and what I have heard. I've been telling everybody from the start of this, I had no involvement in the disappearance of Jack and Lily. I gave the investigators the same story that I'm telling you guys. I did not have anything to do with what if Daniel has said or done.
Boy, oh boy.
I've
Boy,
been
oh
holding
boy.
this in.
She really was adamant about not having anything to do with what it is Daniel and Malaya have done right there. Especially when you don't know, or you shouldn't know, what has been going on. Like, what? You can't have it both ways. You can't be so adamant in denying something that you didn't know occurred or not. It shouldn't even be on your mind. It wouldn't even be a consideration.
For 2 months until Thursday when I gave my interview. The reason why I've been doing this is the investigators advised me not to speak to anybody because of their investigation. But it's been over 2 months now. I find the investigators are not telling us anything. They put only one report out since all this happened.
She's trying to steal a little bit more. I wonder where she gets her hero complex from. Do you see she and Daniel's attempts to act the superhero and to make it look like they're going to great extents to find Jack and Lily, or attempt to. No. This is an example of them taking what people's complaints and observations are and making them part of their current narrative.
They are not giving us any updates. I'm tired.
Yeah, hurry up and arrest them already.
I can't deal with this because they are keeping stuff to themselves, which the public should know. We should know what is happening.
Yeah, that way you know what your next move is going to be. Yeah, hurry up and tell us what your next move is going to be, RCMP. That way we know what we need to do to stay that much farther ahead of you than trying to figure out what the hell is going on at this point. That's what she's really saying.
I don't believe Malaya took that picture. I believe it was a drone. The same drone that took the picture of the property. I wasn't around when it happened, but I'm believing it was a drone that took the picture of Daniel and Justin on the ATV. There is something else I have to clear up about the ATV. The ATV has not been on this property in the last 5 years or so. Because my neighbor, which I'm not going to mention, is known for stealing property. And that was one thing that I did not want him to take. And
No, that has more to do with why you don't let Daniel use the RV. Because he'll strip it down and sell it for parts so he could buy some more tweak. That's not your neighbor. Listen, you want to secure your property at your premises, not away. It's quite the opposite. When it's away from your premises, it's easier to steal. I'm keeping my there's a reason this is a bullshit story. This is just a way she can attack that neighbor who made the allegation against them about their activity from the night before, thereby blowing their story apart. She's got unfinished business with them, and you can see it come through in the game that she's playing right now. She knows well she's playing a game. Yeah, she's dumb as fuck, but she's manipulative as fuck as well, and you can tell right in this circumstance, and she's just that psychopath. To be able to keep pressing and controlling the narrative in the background. I wonder what sort of threats that she's thrown at Malaya over the time to keep her so silent about things. No wonder she wanted the hell away from Janie and that property. Like, what the hell is going on? What kind of shit is going on in Daniel when you're moving her back home in this circumstance, in this environment, with that angry old lady? So much that we don't know yet.
Also want to mention too, someone, I can't tell you who, has broken in, when Daniel and I were away, has broken in to our trailer and have taken a few things.
Yeah, like what? Who the fuck is going to break into that shithole and steal anything? What are they going to take that you have? You don't have anything. What did they steal? See, these are just baseless accusations at this point to distract you and sidetrack you away. You guys don't believe this nonsense, neither do I.
I'm not going to say what they are, but have taken a few things.
Oh, like your makeup? Somebody break in and steal your underwear or what? Your bloomers? She felt it so important to bring up, to mention that while Janie and Daniel were away, that somebody broke in and stole a few things. But she's not going to tell you what exactly that they were, or its relevance to the situation. That is a very good example in a short amount of time about a pattern that she's exhibited throughout this entire scenario thus far, isn't it? And the way that she's trying to get you to take her at her word and believe her. Listen, that might work on that fruitcake Darren Geddes dummy, but it's not going to be good enough for anybody else in this circumstance. And let's remember, this is about Jack and Lily. Janie, stop making it all about you.
And this has all been reported to the investigators. And yes, we still have drones that fly over that are over our place. It's usually Friday and Saturday nights, mostly. So if the people out there that are flying the drones, if you like to watch a 60-year-old woman on a Friday and Saturday night...
Listen to her really making it all about herself in this circumstance. You think the drones are eager to take a look at what the hell you're doing? But she's down there on the ground looking up at the drones, convinced that they're staring at her. Paranoid much? Look at those perverts up there looking at my beautiful self. Boy, you really think highly of yourself there, Janie. Invading in on my privacy back in here in this old RV.
And have nothing better to do.
You're probably flashing him some skin.
You go ahead. And I'd like to say something else. And for all the people that are driving by, taking pictures of my property, and taking pictures to see that what we're doing in the yard, I'm going to let you guys know I am scared of being in my own place because I stick mostly to my RV and my backyard because I never know that when somebody's going to blame us for what's going on, or blame me, I should say, I am scared to death that somebody's going to come along and do something to me while I'm in my yard.
It's probably a bit of reality there, I would expect. That just shows you how paranoid that she is in the circumstance, doesn't it? What are you worried about? Why so worried? Because you have something to hide in the circumstance, and you're worried that people are going to find that out. That's why Daniel is shitting himself and admittedly so distraught before he went into that polygraph. Oh, I'm so nervous that I was going to... What, you're going to fail? That they're going to find out? Well, don't worry, because the test doesn't really determine that to begin with. It's just a tool to measure how you respond and react. They already know you're guilty as sin in this.
That's how scared I am. Now, all these here interviews that Daniel have done, I am scared for him too. I'm scared it will turn out to be like a porta pack. That's what I am scared of. I told the investigators this, and they more or less can't do anything about it because they're on public property, If they step foot on my property, then there's something I can do. Yes, I believe the kids are alive. And the reason why I believe the kids are alive is because my heart is telling me they are alive.
But she's really even rehearsed this nonsense statement. What a bizarre thing to say. What a bizarre thing to say. Your determining factor to whether or not Jack and Lily are alive or not. Think about that for a moment. Think about how bizarre of a response and an answer that is. We listened to it. We've listened to it. Hold on for a second. Time and time again. Out of my freezer. I got my freezer rated, y'all. Hold on.
If they are deceased, I would have, just like everybody else, you'd have this feeling in your heart that you can't explain, and your gut feeling. But no, I definitely believe the kids are not deceased. I believe they are alive. Where they are, I cannot tell you. As I said before, if I knew where the kids were, I would go and get them. I would not care what kind of shit I got into. I would go and get them. And there's another thing that I would like to put out there. I would like whoever has the kids, or whoever knows where the kids are,
Or whatever.
please, if they want to and they want to get out of trouble, please drop them off where they pick them up at night time. We do not have cameras. We do not have an outside street light. It is pure dark. If you watch a video of someone that saw me supposedly filling potholes in, how dark it is, because they drove by to show everybody how dark it is.
What? Whoa. What? Did she just revert to being a 5-year-old child there for a moment?
If they want to drop the kids off of here, and if they got the kids to yell, my dog would let me know that they're out there.
Oh my God. Let the kids off. Don't worry, my dog's going to let me know when you're done. You hear that, Daniel? Your mom's dog's going to let you know when you drop the kids back off, so hurry up and get those bodies back. Your heart tells you that the kids are still alive? All right. That's probably, why don't you say sayonara to the camper and go and head out into the woods?
I will go get them, and I will make sure they are safe.
This time? Don't worry, she's not going to fuck this up again. I'll make sure they're safe this time. I won't let Daniel do anything to them, I promise. This time is going to be different. By the way, you guys are all welcome to stay here for the night. Evil laugh. By the way, you guys are all welcome to stay the night if you wish. Says the double homicide suspect. Oh, fuck, I think I'll stay at a Holiday Inn Express. Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy. This is like a murder mystery at your household. This is a real. This is a real one there. Holy mackerel.
The only thing I can tell you about that is I had nothing to do with Jack and Lily's disappearance.
She's really repeating that over and over again, isn't it? How many times do you got to repeat that? How many times? She's really hoping that we believe that the more we listen to it. The more I listen to it, the less I believe that she has nothing to do with it. In fact, quite the opposite. Well, there's really not a real need for an innocent person to be so concerned in that circumstance. Especially considering how much of a hero Janie is, says Norbeaster, or Big North Marty.
I know Daniel did not have anything to do with Jack and Lily's disappearance. The reason I know that, I know in my heart that Daniel would not harm those children. The answer relies with Malaya.
That's it. Man, it's just a direct statement. You would expect that. Listen, we don't know what happened to the children. I don't need to tell you what you should expect. You guys know already. But think about it. It's not, we don't have anything to do with it. It's Malaya. That's telling you that they know what happened in spite of their denials. They go on to leak that. They go on to in their attempt to emphasize their points or add context, they replace that by just putting blame on Malaya. Listen, even if your claim was true and it was Malaya, you guys would still be fucking guilty and you would know what happened. You can't just magically all of a sudden not know what happened and then put it all on Malaya and not know what happened to Jack and Lily in this circumstance.
She hasn't spoke up, she hasn't come, and she hasn't said anything about all this. That's all I have to say. The rest of the answers to all your questions rely with Malaya. The only thing I can tell you about that is I had nothing to do with
Yeah, it is Mr. Hemi.
Jack and Lily's disappearance. I know Daniel did not have anything to do with Jack and Lily's disappearance. The reason I know that, I know in my heart that
not good enough. Just because knowing in your heart isn't a good alibi in this circumstance. It's pitiful. It's pretty shallow. It's pretty short. It doesn't hold a lot of weight. Come on. Come on, Janie. You know that doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense into the context of two children who are currently missing from your particular premises that we can see you care a lot about. You have all kinds of control over. You allowing people and having people go and stay and come and stay at what would otherwise be somebody else's place. Their business. Remember, you like to stay to yourself. She's on patrol back there. It's like a barracks. That's what it is. It's a barracks for guard duty.
Daniel would not harm those children. The answer relies with Malaya. She hasn't spoke up, she hasn't come, and she hasn't said anything about all this. That's all I have to say. The rest of the answers to all your questions rely with Malaya.
I'm going to give an opinion on here, and this is my opinion and my opinion only. I think Sunny should watch what she says about people. She has very...
I got a kick out of that. Sonny, you need to watch what you say about people, girl. Look, you guys have all kinds of things in common with Janie. You're all complaining about Sunny. Oh, that's funny shit. Listen, that's Sunny. That's Sunny. She's really kind of sending her a subtle hint, a subtle message to Sunny. See what she's doing? She's a real manipulator. She knows exactly what she's doing and why she's doing it. In the context of a cover-up, I mean. A conspiracy. She's very conspiratorial. And it sounds like over and over that Janie's the type of person that really holds a grudge in that circumstance, I believe. Like she would obsess over things. Like she's obsessing over all of, how bad Malaya is of a mother to those two kids. Those two kids that she can't stand that make way too much noise, that she loves. Don't come down on her because they're not her grandkids, but yet she considers them her grandkids. That chick.
Very bad accusations about people. And I do not like it. The reason I am on Facebook is because I will not go on her because she has her opinion, yes,
Wait for it, because she's going to have her Elizabeth Taylor moment right here. Now she's somebody. She's doing you a favor. She's reminding Sunny that she's doing her a favor by even considering talking to her about this situation. She could have that attention anywhere else. It's like she's renegotiating her contract after like a World Series win or something. She's going for that $100 million contract here.
But her accusations towards people is terrible. And I don't like the way she nags Daniel all the time to come on and defend himself. That is up to Daniel to do that, not her agonizing and antagonize him to do it.
Now see how she does this and tries to spin things around? She knows what she's doing. You're antagonizing Daniel to come on and speak for himself? Are you sure? Boy, you really are falling for it. Yeah, speaking of nagging Daniel, Ghetto Panda, here's an example right here. See how overbearing she is about her dear little beloved boy that would never harm two children who are now missing from their particular property and have the shittiest story and alibi. They just happen to be each other's alibi, like the Three Stooges. Now you see it. She can't not be controlling and overbearing. She's not in control of her emotions, and I would expect that that's a common trait around there.
And I do not go on any otherbody's show. I went on Facebook there a while ago, and I tried to explain to people, give people timelines, and they just screwed it all up. So I went off there. And that was my opinion about Brenda. Just like everybody else has opinions. So if everybody took it the wrong way, I'm sorry.
What the hell did you even just say?
I will say Dara did get some things wrong with
What the hell did you even just say? You didn't say anything. Did you notice that? Like word salad us to death there.
what I said. But in my interview and on here, I am correcting what he said about events. I am telling my truth about my side of what happened. On May 1st, nobody was here. On May 2nd, with Jack and Lily.
Nobody was there on May 1st? It's interesting that they bring that point up at this point in time. How nobody was there on May the 1st when it was the evening of May the 1st that this all occurred. And that they were probably busy hiding evidence at that point in time for them not to be around the house. But maybe she's referring to something else.
Disappeared. The people that stayed here on May 2nd was Malaya's two great aunts and Malaya's grandmother stayed the night. On that Friday, May 2nd, the ones that were in the trailer, which was a family reunion, was Malaya's mother, Cindy, Malaya's grandmother, Patty, Malaya's aunt, I don't know her name, I never met her, Malaya's two great aunts, I never met them, and Cindy's boyfriend were all in the big trailer.
So these are the people that she all told to leave? Should have kicked them off her property too, on Malaya's side.
Eating drinking coffee. I don't believe any of them went out searching.
Oh, wow, how critical. They didn't do as they were told when they got here. Well, what the fuck do you want them to do? None of them are buying this bullshit. Why aren't you out searching there, you old bag? You're all here eating coffee and sitting around and eating all of the food that I provided, all of the snacks that I spent so long in the kitchen in my RV working on. My hors d'oeuvres. They liked my hors d'oeuvres, but they didn't even search.
On that Saturday, after everybody left, after the fight or the altercation at the end of the driveway, everybody left.
After Janie fucking lost it, after she snapped and attacked the individuals at the end of the driveway for turning around and associating Daniel's mathematics use with the disappearance of Jack and Lily, and how tangible those two things are and how they appear to be in Daniel's bizarre behavior. You jumped to his defense in the moment and you went hands-on. Cop had to come and split you up, and then you didn't want to talk about the reason that you went apeshit, that you lost all control, just like you lost control with Jack and Lily many, many times. I wonder how many times shit like that just breaks out randomly around that house, do you think? You think of all times that Janie would have been able to control her emotions, as in, don't get into fights with the people that we invited over to the house to help search for our missing children. Or should I rephrase that and say, who are here to hear a first-hand account of our bullshit story so that we may help establish a false narrative. We know why you surrounded yourself with all of as many randos as possible. They're not randos, though. You're your family members and friends. Because it helps create a cover for yourself. Helps paint you as a victim and in desperate need of support in that moment. The problem is, in all of this, Janie, is that your story is so fucking bad that not even an idiot who has never been through this before would ever consider this even possible, and you guys not having something to do with it because your story doesn't hold any weight.
Except Malaya's grandmother Patty was here, and she was going to stay the night. But I think it was Corey, Haley's boyfriend, came and took her. She did not want to leave. But Corey came and took her, and they all left. There was nobody here after that.
More like when they started getting a little wise that, you know what, it's probably not a good idea to be sitting around here with a person like Janie. You think it's wise to be hanging around with people who are responsible for murdering 2 children and are trying to get away with it? I think I'll probably... Oh boy, I'm tired. Thanks for the hors d'oeuvres. I gotta go. I'm out of here. Sayonara. I bet you the majority of the people that came over that day feel absolutely used and dirty for even having gone through this charade with you. Now that Daniel and Malaya and Janie can associate all of these individuals as some sort of alibi and cover to pull them into this scenario to hopefully make it look like they're just such wonderful, outstanding parents who have nothing but love for Jack and Lily in the circumstance. You guys couldn't even control yourselves.
Everybody left on Saturday evening. And I'm going to mention this too, okay? Daniel is a big boy. Or a man. Whatever you guys want to call him. He's my son. I will not stick up for my son. If he is telling the truth.
Do you see she has a habit of doing that? You're telling us you're not doing what it is that you're doing. You're constantly sticking up for your moronic son, you idiot. Think about the bizarre connection here. It's so difficult to digest.
Or he's telling a lie. That is on him, not me. But I could tell you that Daniel and Justin had nothing to do with the disappearing or...
Ooh, she almost said something else there. The disappearing, and you were about to say murder. But how would you know they were murdered already? How would you know that they would have been murdered? You almost said murder there, old lady. I caught you here live tonight, 12:17 a.m. Eastern Daylight Savings Time. Oh boy, the cops can't be this dumb. Janie, you're telling us what it is that you can't help but do through your language. You're up here constantly irrationally sticking up for Daniel and then telling us that if he lied, that you've got nothing to do with that and not to associate you with any of the lies that Daniel has been telling us. You've got your own set of lies. No. All the lying has to do with the exact same thing. And it's another thing for you guys to be volunteering and preemptively so distraught over what the possibilities are before people are actually accusing you of murdering anybody publicly. There's no real problem out here. Listen, people get death threats if they pitch a bad game in like the World Series or something like that. You might have to have police protection or something. But you, at that point in time, because you're worried about, so distraught and worried about what a bunch of people are going to think in the future, only tells us that there's a reason why you should be afraid about getting found out. It's not like there's an active, ongoing threat to your welfare and safety. Nobody's bothered you. Nobody's even said anything. It's you idiots that can't stay out of random people's live streams trying to steer and build a narrative for yourselves. That's suspicious too, by the way. Because innocent people don't have the need to do that in these circumstances. They're too busy with reality of, than to worry about all of the theories. But the one thing that each and every theory out here publicly has in common, they all have you responsible for whatever happened to Jack and Lily. Isn't that interesting? So no matter which way that they turn, it's like a house of mirrors, isn't it? It's a house of mirrors, in each place that you look back at yourself. And you realize how difficult the challenge is not to be suspicious, so you plead to the public to take you at your word. Well, how foolish would we be to take you at your word in a missing child's case? I don't think anybody would be doing their job. That's not how the world works in this circumstance. Sadly, from your perspective.
Anything to do with Jack and Lily. The reason why I'm saying that Justin and Daniel had nothing to do with the disappearing or the deceased or whatever everybody's saying that he did or that he murdered Jack and Lily, I know that is not true because my heart is telling me that it is not true.
Holy Hannah. That's like an admission right there to me. You know that's a goddamn admission. Why does this woman have the need, being so close to Jack and Lily, to be bringing up the word murder in that circumstance? And she's also, associating Justin, her other son, in this as well. If Janie finds the need to tell us that they didn't have anything to do with murdering and disposing of the bodies or whatever, then there's a reason why she's bringing it up. It's because it's true. She's got a need to be lying about it in that moment. That's her truth. We all know what that really means, by the way. That's just there's only one truth out there, my friends. There's only one reality, especially when it comes to what happened to Jack and Lily. There's not 14 different realities. Even though with the mental state that they're all in, they probably are, to all of their different personalities. Got all kinds of fragmented personalities up in here on Garlock Road.
And nobody could tell me, by the way, these behavioral experts are saying the way he's moving in his actions and everything and stuff like that.
What? Yeah, I know the behavior panel are a bunch of shit jokes. Bunch of shit. 8 days. No. Where's the shout out to the statement analysts? Where's our shout out to Plaids? Come on, make mention of Plaids, Janie. She doesn't dare bring up, because then she would have to bring up all of the statement analysis, tearing me apart about all the things that I say out there. Who cares about your facial expressions and your posture? But she's really reaching for something out there. I like that.
A mother knows.
A mother knows.
The truth about their child. I did not carry him for 9 months and raise him until he got out on his own.
When the hell was that? You're talking about Daniel, carrying Daniel for 9 months. What? The dude's a grown adult, man. We really love him in an unhealthy way. You love him in a Norman Bates type of way.
But I don't know what that boy's about. Believe me. If you're a mother, you know. Your heart tells you.
Well, she's commanding you that you relate to her. Could you imagine her standing right beside you, telling you this cockamamie nonsense, trying to get you to agree that what it is that's coming out of her mouth makes sense? You know, you're a mother. You understand what it is I'm saying. Oh, yes, my word, of course. Madam, oh my God. Honey, you making not a lick of sense.
Yes, I can understand. But as I said, I have no control over Daniel. What he does and what he says.
Bullshit. You coach him nonstop. You're so overprotective of him. You run his life for him. You live in his backyard.
But what she said about me, saying that that's the boy I raised, and that's your son, that was an awful, awful thing to say about me. Because as I said, I have no control over Daniel.
Especially when he does something stupid. Like he's done here. See the way that she just distances herself at the right times? I know he doesn't have anything to do with it. My heart can tell it. But if he did have something to do with it, it has nothing to do with me. It's almost like out of a cartoon. It's something like logic that you would write into the script of like a, Looney Tunes bit. That's how bad you are, Janie.
And yes, he is my son. And I love him a lot.
God. Again with this.
But I am not going to stand up for him because he's a big boy. And what he does and says is on him, not me. So, Sonny, the accusation that you said about me, that's my son. Yes, he is my son. And nobody will ever take that away from me. But the way you said it about him lying and everything has nothing to do with me.
It clear as mud?
I think you should all go back and listen to what she said about me. And then you'll know what I'm saying.
Oh my fucking Lord. We'll do that, JD. Thanks for bringing that up. Oh, God. Do you see what she wants you to spend your time doing? You guys need to go hate on Sunny for a while and then come back. She needs her own YouTube channel. Her own drama channel. Did you hear what she said about me? How dare you say that about me? How dare you say Daniel is my son? It's the way that you said it. She doesn't even know why she's upset.
And another thing I can say is, I don't have to go on her show. I can go anywhere and talk that I feel like I want to talk.
I could go to any team that I want. Oh, this whole league wants me.
Just because I don't go on her show doesn't mean that I can't talk to anybody I want and say anything I want, because what's coming out of my mouth is the truth. And by the way, I see her in Facebook chat too, saying stuff. So where does she have the right to tell me that the Facebook is not the place to go to chat? I could go anywhere I want. It's a free world and I have free speech.
Oh, she's a live one.
I didn't belittle Belinda.
She could barely even pronounce Belinda.
I just asked a question. And I have the right to ask the question, just like everybody else on Facebook has to ask.
See, there's a big difference there, though, Sugar Tits. Nobody else on Facebook was with Jack and Lily Sullivan moments before they disappeared, and is trying to confuse the reasons to why they're emotionally distraught in the moment over something that they really shouldn't have come to terms with at that point. You're crying over the fact that something happened to Jack and Lily. Well, what exactly happened to Jack and Lily that would drive you to the point of tears, darling? If you didn't already know. That's what my heart's telling me. What's your heart telling you? Let me know in the comments section below. What's your heart telling you at home, friends?
Ask questions. The only thing I asked her is, the question that I asked her is, for 2.5 years she didn't see her, for 2.5 years she didn't see her grandchildren. She can't blame Daniel for not seeing that. Daniel had no say in it. Melinda had her own mind.
Yeah, but how would she know that if she minds her own business and Daniel, is a big boy now, he can fight his own battles? How would she know any of this? And above and beyond that, why are you so defensive and fighting on behalf of Daniel, correcting a person like Belinda in all of this? Really, she's upset over what Belinda has said publicly. And she's not directly talking about that, because she doesn't want you to know what exactly she's upset that Belinda said, but we can put 2 and 2 together. Because between the two of them, Belinda is reliable, Janie is unreliable. And she's not even open and clear and concise with the way that she's feeling about things. I wonder why that is. Because she's trying to really hide the real reason that is bringing her pain and sorrow, as Malaya would say. You're all filled with pain and sorrow. It's disgusting, Malaya.
She could have took Melinda to court. She could have got grandparents' visitation rights.
No such thing.
As I said, just like I'm doing for my grandchildren. She had the right to do that. If Daniel was stopping her.
The only person that grandparents' rights would be relevant to is if the state or the province has custody of your children, as if they were a ward of the crown.
She had the right to go to court and get visitation rights. And you can't sit there and not think about why she has not seen the kids in 2.5 years. If it was because of my son, she should have done something about it. My ex-daughter-in-law won't let me see my grandkids, but by Jesus, I ain't going to stand by and let her not let me see them.
Interesting. There's another little glimpse into the psychopathy of Janie. You're not going to let the kid's mother get in the way of you doing anything? What does that tell you about the way that Janie looks at the family situation? Complete disregard. A complete disregard or lack of respect for anybody within her vicinity. Because nobody is good enough to be with her, Daniel. Because she herself, she has got such a high regard of herself that comes through in this moron Daniel. You could see it already. You guys taking a look in the fucking mirror recently?
And Belinda could have did the same. That's the only thing that I brought up. And I got shot down for it. But aren't you wondering why she never fought to see her grandchildren? It's the same question I asked. Ask yourself the same question. Aren't you wondering why?
No, not at all. We know the reason why, you stupid ass. Because she got iced out of the relationship through the fight in the courts between the people that it matters most, which is the mother and father. The grandparents don't have any right within that at all, especially kooky, crazy ones who thinks that they actually do have rights in this circumstance. See the problem? You just having that thought makes you an overbearing ignoramus with no respect for the family unit to begin with, bitch. And I mean that in the most
Daniel
Christian
didn't
of
have any
ways.
say in those kids if the grandmother could see them or not. It was all Melinda. Not Daniel. Melinda had all the doings with those two children. She had all the say over those kids.
What's your name?
That's a question I cannot answer. The only one that can answer that is Belinda and Malaya. They're the only two
Melinda
that
and
can
Balea.
talk to each other and sort that out. I can't. I'm only telling you what.
She's obviously forgotten what their names are. Screwing up letters, word salad it right up.
What Sunny has said on her show about Daniel was the one that would not let Malaya see the kids. As I said, Daniel had no say in who those kids could see and who they couldn't. It was up to Malaya. I'm sorry, I'm saying kids. I should be saying Jack and Lily. I apologize for that.
That's just her acknowledging that she knows that she's not talking like she should about two children that she cares about. That's just her acknowledging it. She's not representing what she would otherwise consider a loving parent.
I can't tell you
Or grandparent.
why Malaya is not showing up at the visuals. The reason I didn't show up is I didn't want to be attacked by reporters. I didn't go, but I plan on going to the next one because I got my story out there. I got the truth out there. But I'm not going to an event and be bombarded by reporters. That's why I didn't go to the first one. But I will be going to the second one. Because I couldn't handle all these reporters coming up to me and me breaking down in a whole bunch of people. I cannot talk to reporters. The only reason why I got the reporters to come here is because it was on the property, and the reporter said to me, talk to me. She wasn't there to judge me like everybody else is judging me. I got my truth of the story out there, and I'm glad I did, because now the weight is off of my chest, and I am out there telling you guys what happened.
Oh, that sounds believable. She's as painful getting through that statement. That's a difficult fabrication right there. That just came fresh out of the oven. Whew. It's difficult reciting these same words to different people all the time.
Someone actually sat down and listened to me without criticizing me.
Could you imagine her just sitting in that old RV getting all worked up over the stuff people are saying, and she's so paranoid, looking over her shoulder every minute. Oh my God, what's happening?
Opened up to Darren because he did not criticize me. I listened to.
This is her talking about Darren Geddes. Now this is very, very interesting, because she's really telling you that she is the master of puppets back there in this false narrative to begin with. That's, so painful. You're an accessory to all of this, Janie. You're a key player in the cover-up. Why do you have such a need to plaster a false narrative around about Malaya? And that false narrative fits into the resentment that you've felt for the last 2 years towards her and the children. And that is what you passed on to Daniel. That's all the affirmation that he needed in this.
I can't tell you why Malay is not showing up at the visuals. The reason I didn't.
The visuals. Who's scheduling the second vigil? What's a vigil? You mean visual, Slim?
Show up is I didn't want to be attacked by reporters. I didn't go, but I plan on going to the next one because I got my story out there. I got the truth out there. But I'm not going to an event and be bombarded by reporters. That's why I didn't go to the first one.
It's like going to the Oscars, isn't it? She doesn't want to walk down that red carpet. She's so sickened by all of the flashbulbs. It's just too much. I don't want to be bombarded with reporters. What is she saying there? She's saying that she doesn't want to be in an area where she's going to be made to feel uncomfortable with a bunch of questions scrutinizing her cockamamie story. That's why she needed the story to be out there, so she could walk around and have something to refer back towards and put back in the person's face should she be confronted. Like an innocent person does. Janie sounds a lot more like somebody who's just served 40 years in prison and is trying to get out on parole than a person who's innocent in the disappearance of 2 missing kids, doesn't she? It sounds like a hardened criminal trying to bullshit and pretend for a parole board. It really has a lot of similarities. Maybe you disagree.
But I will be going to the second one.
The second one. That's the one we really expect to be making a lot of money in. Have I shared my PayPal yet?
Because I couldn't handle all these reporters coming up to me and me breaking down in a whole bunch of people.
What the hell does breaking down look like? Fuck, she's already on edge. It's like she's ready to murder us all with an axe. At any moment, she could just explode. She's so tense. Sounds like she needs a massage. She'd be a good commercial for like a Holiday Inn Express.
I cannot talk to reporters. The only reason why I got the reporters to come here is because it was on the property, and the reporter said to me, "Talk to me." She wasn't there to judge me like everybody else is judging me.
If you didn't want to be judged, you shouldn't have moved into that old fucking RV in the backyard. See how it's everybody else's fault? No, there genuinely are choices in life that you can make that people are right to judge you on. Like, We get it. But the problem is that we're judging your honesty there, Janie. People are judging your honesty, and that's what you're really afraid of. You're not being very honest with anybody. We can tell. That's what really makes you feel uncomfortable. Well, she's got a reason to be so defensive, right? Blatant 884. She got a reason because she's lying. The lies and the accumulation thereof of them in this circumstance really make her a bit tense, as they would. You would expect that. Why? Because that's normal human behavior and the effects physiologically. We're not worried about all your weird twitches. We don't give a shit about that. We care about what it is that you're saying. Why? Because it's the most incriminating thing you can possibly do and focus on, because that's where all of the information is, Janie. And the fact that you don't want to share with us any relevant information is in of itself very suspect. So if you are unsatisfied with the criticism that's coming back, maybe you should change the shit that you're saying.
I got my truth of the story out there.
The tooth.
And
Yep.
I'm glad I did. Because now the weight is off of my chest. And I am out there telling you guys what happened.
She's on the edge just telling us all of this, right? That's odd. That's bizarre behavior in of itself. No wonder she's got a heart condition. She's high. Her blood pressure must be through the roof at all times. Imagine with the added complexities of a situation of this nature.
Someone actually sat down and listened to me without criticizing me. Just like Darren did. That's the reason I opened up to Darren, because he did not criticize me. I listened to him. He listened to me. He did not judge me. That's why I opened up to him for the first time in 2 months.
Oh yeah, do you guys think that she banged Darren Geddes? It sounds like it. You guys have some sort of relations of the caramel nature? The caramel nature?
And yes, I'm going to tell you something. I had a reporter bribe me to talk to her.
Here it is. I love this part. She had a reporter of all people, bribe Janie to talk to her. Gift giving is very common, especially with journalists. So let's bring Janie over a present. Some people bring a pizza. Remember when Benny Keys brought a pizza? Benny and Dougie?
She bribed me with cigarettes and dog treats.
She bribed me with cigarettes and dog treats. Think about what it is that you just said. First of all, you're trying to bring shade against the reporter for having the audacity to do something that you would otherwise think was immoral in this circumstance in order to get information. But when you tell everybody that you accepted the bribe of cigarettes and dog treats, what was it even worth bringing up? Why would you even bring up the fact that a person attempted to bribe you and you went ahead and took the scenario? You took the bribe. You were on the take. Because it wasn't a bribe to begin with. But it's funny. They're trying to get on your good side. They're trying to get information, and you're so offended by all of that. Man, oh man. So clearly it's not them trying to bribe Janie, is it? They're trying to build rapport with her, to try to get her to talk. A gift of friendship. You're trying to make friends. So as a reporter or anybody trying to interview her, you're trying to make an in. I guess you could call it a bribe. Usually a bribe, you bribe somebody in the government in order to allow you to go further and make more money. Depends on the scenario. But it's so ridiculous to go and get mad at somebody and call it what they were doing to be a bribe, when you went ahead and took the dog treats and cigarettes anyway. So I offer you a smoke, you take it, and then you turn around on me and tell me that I just bribed you. I don't think you really thought that through very hard. Janie, you sound silly as shit. It wasn't a bribe. He's really doing a bit. She's going overboard.
And she even bribed someone else with a case of beer.
Bribe them for what? To get what? To get what ends? You know, just to get the chance to talk to somebody as fantastic as you?
Just so she could get a story. Now, you want me to talk to reporters like that? No. I did not.
Well, wait till we tell you that if you went and called the Daily Mail, you probably could have made about $5,000 or $10,000 off of your bullshit claims. I bet you that has you dancing, especially that you're a tweaker. That's some solid drug money right there. Why don't you call them up and give them a little bit of a line, a little bit of an angle? See what you can't get out of this. I'm surprised you idiots haven't figured that out yet.
And yes, I'm going to tell you something. I had a reporter bribe me to talk to her. To talk to her.
She goes on.
She bribed me with cigarettes and dog treats.
Yeah, she repeated herself, for crying out loud. She bribed me. No, it's like she's sexually assaulted or something, or she was violated in some way. You're the one who is immoral by accepting the bribe, you dummy. It's not the person who approached you. It's the person who accepts the bribe that is doing wrong in the circumstance. You're missing that up. You're mixing it up there, honey.
And she even bribed someone else with a case of beer just so she could get a story. Now, you want me to talk to reporters like that? No. I did not.
Okay, you didn't accept them? All right.
And this reporter that I was talking to,
So it was an attempted bribe. She approached you.
Allie, I got to meet her before I did my interview. I talked to her to see if I was comfortable with talking to her. And I did feel comfortable talking to her.
Oh, I was so comfortable. I'm not sure if I'm going to feel comfortable enough today to be talking to you.
So
She's a real prima donna, isn't she?
that's why I did the interview with her.
She's got a real Diana Ross complex. It's very difficult to get an interview with this person. Well, why so difficult to talk to? What's up with you, old lady? Nothing suspicious about this. I think she's confused about I don't think she's confused at all. She's just lying and wanting to make it look a certain way, and she's not doing a very good job of it. Why do you have the need to be deceptive in all of this as well and misrepresent the things that you're truly afraid of in the circumstance? Oh, I think we just answered their question. Oh boy.
Yes, Daniel did do a lot for those kids. Yes, I will say that. And I will also say the only time that Jack and Lily and Meadow ever went to town is when Daniel was with them, because Malaya couldn't handle all three kids.
Do you know what's really contradictory? Is the fact that she wants to emphasize how, you know, Daniel's a big boy and they have their own lives, but yet she is there and in a position and actively telling you what she's telling you all of their business. She's telling you their movements, their activities, like something only a person who has an eye on them all of the time would know. So it's completely contradictory to her claims that she is separated and is just as quiet as a little house mouse in the back all the time. Quite the opposite. She's up in their business so hard because she's not the type of person that's going to let something slide by. If she's going to do you a favor, you're going to hear about that favor every day. And the favor here is allowing them the luxury of living in her former abode, the one that they're not even keeping clean. Imagine what it's like to look outside that RV window every day and see that nasty ass mattress just floating out there outside her trailer. It's contributing to poor mental health around there. the state of the place. Not disorganized thought comes from the abuse of the substances that they were taking. And Janie probably believes everything that Daniel tells her because Daniel tells her everything that she wants to hear anyway and has done for years. Because there's no possible way that you could have a rational conversation with Janie about anything. Okay? She's that detached from reality. She's way too manipulative. So these people live a lifestyle of lying to themselves and lying to each other. Pretty soon the lies become the truth to them. That's how they live. She doesn't want to believe because she doesn't want to believe that Daniel is in any way responsible for anything negative around there. He did so much for those kids who are now missing. Fuck. That if somebody said that statement, I'd be like, you know what? Time to shut the fuck up about me. You know, don't associate me with this. The fact that she's telling you that, you know, she can't stop. The more that she speaks, the more suspicious Daniel looks in all of this. It's having the opposite effect is where I'm getting at. Then you know, you can deny all you want.
And I'll tell you something else. For the last 2 years, I observed those kids in my backyard. And the only time that Malaya went out with those kids is when she took Meadow out. And when she took Meadow out, that's all she would do was take her over to see the chickens. I have never seen I have never seen Malaya push those kids down on the swing or even watch them go down the slide.
So what are we really listening to here? We're listening to another example of the type of disdain that Janie held towards Malaya. Another chance for her to tell you just how poor and something wrong with Malaya. Therefore, there is something, she had to have something to do with their disappearance, but not Janie and Daniel because they helped Jack and Lily do everything else. These two kids that were severely neglected in this environment and abused. You see the problem here? They're selectively choosing who's responsible for what around there at any one point of time instead of doing what's actually right and contributing in a healthy manner. There's nothing healthy about this environment. So the real environment is Daniel and Janie blaming Malaya for pretty much everything, even when she was living there. And that's just carried on to this point. And really what they're doing when they mention it, they're daring her to come and say something publicly. Coercing her to come up, and now that there's all of this established story out there, to come up and help them out. The signal. I'm going to need Malaya to put these two mofos behind bars for life. At some point.
I've never seen her out there playing with the kids. In the wintertime, I would go out and throw snowballs at them.
That's really playing with the kids, all right. In wintertime, I go out there and just what you want to do with a 4 and a 6-year-old is just often fucking pound them with snowballs. That's not playing with them. That's you hitting them with snowballs. Malaya would never go out. It's just another opportunity for her to insult Malaya, which is a demonstration of the type of resentment she held towards her all that 2 years that they were there. Think about the change. Think about the change that went on there after Daniel's last relationship. And her 2 other grandkids from that relationship, and the type of person Janie is, and how that would carry over with Daniel bringing Malaya and Jack and Lily home and being pregnant with Meadow. Like Daniel's introduced this as a replacement in his life. I mean, it's a really busy, bizarre scenario. But there's already probably a lot of lies and manipulation involved between those two. And really, Janie's been conditioned to believe everything that Daniel tells her. Christy, she says she observed those kids for 2 years. Interesting selection of words it is, isn't it? Observed.
Snowman.
Those kids. That's distancing language.
With them. Build a tall snowbank for them to go sledding in. All the grandchildren. And I would try to go coasting with them, but I have some medical problems. I couldn't really go coasting with them, but I would push them down the hill in the sleigh. I would play snowballs with them. I'd build snowmans with them. I never seen Malaya ever do that with them. When she was out watching them coast, she was pulling Meadow around in the sleigh. After Meadow was born, yes, Meadow got all the attention. I seen that with my own 2 eyes, yes. Jack and Lily were sort of put on the back burner, yes.
So that's a real admission there, isn't it? They're indicating that there's a big change in Malaya after the baby was born. But there's a double entendre with that because it's another example of the way that they perceived Malaya and the kids in that circumstance. Whether or not it's true, or whether maybe there's truth to it, but it doesn't overdo how they treated Malaya because they were the answer to that problem. You know, they were a bigger contributing factor to the poor mental health in that household through their attitude towards her. Imagine them just having that in their head and just, constantly pounding Malaya, telling her that she's so different now and, you're not doing this, you're not doing that. It's just in their heads, and it probably drove Malaya crazy to the point of having to leave. Last person I'd want to be looking after a baby would be Janie. That's just doesn't make much sense to me.
I've never seen when I would go in there after school, I would never see Malaya sit down and do their homework with them. I would never see Malaya read to them. I would always read to them when I would babysit them. Yes, I babysit Jack and Lily. Whenever they went somewhere, I would babysit them. And I had no problem with Jack and Lily.
See, that's contrary to her not being around and minding her own business. If she's telling you this to this degree, it would indicate that she spends a lot of time around everybody there, as you would because you just live in a goddamn vehicle in the driveway. You can't help but be within close proximity to everything all of the time. So she's lying to you, but still proceeding to go ahead and tell you the exact thing she's telling you she's not doing. It's confusing to your mind sometimes, but leakage, you could consider it leakage, I would expect. No, you could. But it's confusing because it's a pattern it's a pattern within her deception because she's lying as well, right? It's just within the trend line of her lies.
Lily would sit with me and watch TV. I would take Jack. He would hold him in my arms. He would pretend he was swimming. He would pretend he was playing airplane. Lily would be running around showing me her dolls.
Leslie Nielsen?
And, yes, I did more interaction with those children than Malaya did.
Really? That's a powerful statement.
And as I was saying...
Janie's powerful statement. She had more interaction with Jack and Lily than Malaya did. What does that say when the kids are missing at this point in time? They overlook that just to gain face. You're telling everybody, like Daniel, you wonder where Daniel gets this complex from, the superiority complex. But they do it because they prioritize themselves ahead of the victims, the missing children in this, in order to seem innocent. Like, it's so unnecessary. But they are so paranoid, they make it necessary, and it makes them look even more suspicious, doesn't it? It's so hard. You son of a bitches. Yeah, Angry Rabbit, the confusion is deliberate. Well, I'm not confused in anything other than they're lying. It's just trying to articulate it is confusing. I'm making it confusing because I'm stoned and tired, but it's okay. I'm not too stoned not to pick up on this bullshit. How's this helping to find Lily and Jack, Miss K? Ooh, are you asking me? Or are you asking Janie? Telling everybody that you spent wow, that's so powerful and deep, because that is even a clear little window. You know, the holes are really lining up in the Swiss cheese right there. There's a real taste of the type of Janie that Malaya saw. Janie sees her as just such a wonderful person. How it's impossible for her to comprehend how Malaya was put off by her behavior or her attitude towards her and the kids. Janie is a real adjutant within this story. Oh, shit.
Okay, on that day,
Put the top board up on the fence so I could put the boards up because I
lost my spot. Hold on.
Well, let's start with Jack. What happened? Someone actually sat down and listened to me without criticizing me. Just like Darren did. That's the reason I opened up to Darren, because he did not criticize me. I listened to him. He listened to me. He did not judge me. That's why I opened up to him for the first time in 2 months.
Oh, wow, you did such a
And
wonderful
yes,
thing.
I'm going to tell you something. I had a reporter bribe me to talk to her. Ever went to is when Daniel was with them because Malaya couldn't handle all 3 kids. Ever went to town? What happened? Someone actually sat down and listened to me without criticizing me. Just like Darren did. That's the reason I opened up to Darren, because he did not criticize me. I listened to him. He listened to me. He did not judge me. That's why I opened up to him for the first time in 2 months. And yes, I'm going to tell you something. I had a reporter bribe me to talk to her. She bribed me with cigarettes and dog treats. And she even bribed someone else with a case of beer, just so she could get a story. Now, you want me to talk to reporters like that? No, I did not. And yes, I'm going to tell you something. I had a reporter bribe me to talk to her. She bribed me with cigarettes and dog treats. And she even bribed someone else with a case of beer, just so she could get a story. Now, you want me to talk to reporters like that? No, I did not. And this reporter that I was talking to, Allie, I got to meet her before I did my interview. I talked to her to see if I was comfortable with talking to her. And I did feel comfortable. Lily would sit with me and watch TV. I would take ever went to town.
Friends, it's getting on 3 hours. It's the middle of the night, 1:07 Eastern here. There's so much more to this. We're 38 minutes into it. We're going to have to pick up this in the morning, tomorrow, Saturday morning, so stay tuned. We'll make a part 2 to this. I don't want to fall asleep on you. I got to keep sharp and witty. So tomorrow, when we pick it up, we'll backtrack on we'll summarize what we went over and set it up at this timestamp to continue. I appreciate you guys sticking it out on this Friday night. Thank you very much for joining, and God bless you.
Ba-ba-ba-ba.